Hello, everyone, and welcome to the AFTW meeting, Arizona Flight Training Work Group for November 2024. Appreciate you joining us. Thank you to everyone who's here at the live meeting and even those of you who are watching the recording on YouTube. Appreciate you taking the time to participate. Goal has been dealing with some pretty serious family issues, and I was talking to him earlier today, and just with as preoccupied he's been helping out his dad with a kind of serious health situation, I offered to go ahead and lead the meeting today. Goal is here in the live meeting. Thank you for joining us, Goal, and thank you so much for leading these meetings all year. You've been awesome. My schedule just happened to work out that I'm in my home office today and able to go ahead and take the lead on the meeting. The good news is his dad is doing better, and the prognosis is good. And so sending prayers and well wishes to Goal's father. So we have the meeting agenda here. You can see it on the right side of my screen. It's the same document that becomes our minutes. For those of you who are here at the live meeting, you can see it in the chat. I've got the big long Google Docs link there. And those of you who are watching this after the fact on YouTube, just go down to the description on the YouTube video and you can click and go right to the actual Google Doc. That's important, makes it easy for accessing any of the links that we have. We do not expect you to type these links in. I've had people try to do that and it rarely works well. We are recording this, so please mind your manners. And welcome to anyone who's new, anyone who's here for the first time. We'll do introductions in a minute. Please don't have any side conversations in the chat. Try to keep it focused on the meeting. We do offer wings credit for this. We are simply going to use the Zoom attendance. So if the email address that you use with Zoom or that you use to register for this meeting is your faasafety.gov email address, you do not need to do anything else. If you're not sure or you know that you have a different email address at faasafety.gov for wings credit, please go ahead and drop that in the chat now. Those of you that are here at the live meeting, and we're happy to give you wings credit. Just a couple reminders here. We've got the AFTW Facebook group. If you're not already participating, the link is here in the minutes. And this is the group here, 593 members currently. This is where most of our communication happens. We've basically given up on email. So many challenges with spam blockers and trying to manage groups of email addresses with people coming and going at various flight schools. So we know Facebook isn't perfect, but it's the best thing we found so far as a way to share information, especially things that are timely. And the AFTW website, if you haven't checked that out, please poke around. Specifically, like to always highlight the safety topic of the month. This is information that comes from the FAA, but they don't have any good place to post it. So we post it for them. And it goes back a few years now. We've been doing this for a while. Really good information, turnkey presentations. If you're invited to give a presentation, especially a safety related presentation somewhere, there's all kinds of great information right here you can download and use to go give those presentations. So I'd like to make sure everyone knows about that stuff. Let's go ahead and do some quick introductions. If this is your first time or you haven't been here for a while, go ahead and unmute and say hello to everybody. Just a bunch of old timers. All right, then.
Okay, I'll start it then. I'm Mike Jesh. I'm a flight instructor in the Southern California area, and mostly I'm here lately as about 6 months ago or so, I was asked to take over the reins as chairman of the Southern California Airspace Users Working Group. So I'm driving that bus now, and I mentioned this to my co-chair John Ringel, who's also joined the chat there, waving at you from his retired 787 cockpit. So, John, you want to chime
Nice.
in a little bit?
Yeah, I retired about 2.5 years ago and miss flying the big airplanes, but small airplanes do take their place. Um, I'm involved in not only the Southern California Airspace Users Working Group, but I'm also based at Long Beach Airport, where according to the residents, we have a noise problem. So we've been dealing with that issue. And I'm sure that's pretty general to just about any airport in the United States. So, yeah, I'm just here. Mike told me about it, and since I'm retired and I have nothing else to do, and I just love to sit down for Zoom chat meetings, what the heck?
Awesome.
See what you guys do.
Well, thank you both for being here and Mike for inviting John. The work you guys are doing there in Southern California is extremely important and very connected to what we're doing here in Arizona. So it's good that we collaborate and appreciate you taking the time to come to our meetings. All right. Anyone else want to say hi?
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
go
say
ahead
I haven't
and
been on
yeah.
live for a
It's
few.
Brian Baker. We know you.
Hey,
How you doing?
yeah, that was a good segue into I'm back live anyway from Tucson now, as opposed to from Deer Valley or Ryan Airfield. So the the job transition has settled down. So I've got some time back to come and join the meetings live. So glad to be back live with you guys, even though I've been admiring from afar, the recordings. So, but glad to be back and see everyone face to face live.
Very good. So you used to be doing commercial high-end drone sales. Go ahead and tell everyone what you're doing now.
I'm Director of Operations for North American Aerial Surveys out at Ryan Field. So we have a fleet of 4 aircraft that we use for high precision aerial mapping, LiDAR mapping, and we work all over the US, Canada, and Mexico. So we've got three twins, 2 Aero Commanders, a Cessna 402, and then a single engine 206 that we use for putzing around locally. And then
Mhm.
I think just one of our cameras costs more than all of our planes put together. So it's a little bit of a different type of sensor equipment. But yeah, we do some. In fact, I'll share it with the group. We actually flew the NASCAR championships on Sunday.
Wow.
Right before the A10 flyover on Sunday, we photographed the entire site and all at 3 centimeter resolution. So we got some pretty cool aerial imagery. So we do some fun stuff. A lot of it's pretty boring, just crops, solar farms, things like that. But we do get to do
Huh.
some interesting projects from time to time.
So if someone sees one of those planes you mentioned going back and forth, it's probably you guys doing a job.
It probably is. Yeah, yeah.
So
We
the
we do.
survey of PIR, I'm curious now that it's done, are you allowed to tell us, was that security related? Were they looking for things or
No, it wasn't security related. It
okay.
was marketing and expansion related. I think that they'll probably be looking to expand the facilities there in the coming years. We flew it last year also. It was like the weekend before I actually started this job, so I wasn't around for that one. But there was a TFR over PIR during the event, and but we were about 400 feet over the TFR and a couple of 100 feet under the Bravo shelf out there. So, but yeah, we fly in the Bravo all the time. We try to annoy Tracon as much as possible, being in the bow tie right on the approach end and departure end of their runways during the busiest times of the day. So, but they those folks are great and they work with us pretty extensively and pretty closely. There's usually not, um, certainly not a month that goes by that we're not in the bow tie,
Wow,
doing something, there in Tempe or Mesa or, over on the west side. So, but yeah, lot of fun.
very good. Awesome. Well, good to have you back. Anyone else that's returning, hasn't been on the live meeting for a while or new that would like to say hi real quick? Now's your chance. All right, then let's keep going. We'll go for my goal of a short meeting. Any upcoming local events that we need to put in the minutes? Go ahead and unmute and tell us if you guys know of anything coming up in Arizona.
This Saturday is the Phoenix 99's 75th anniversary of the chapter's inception. So we'll be having a gala there at Swift. Invitations have gone out. We've got a full house and the 99s are pretty excited.
Does that mean we should not advertise it, or you are trying to get more?
We're not trying to get any more, but
Okay.
we're letting people know about it. I'm sure there's people on this call that have been invited to it or might be going. But so yeah, it's just a little, we'll
Okay.
be doing, a little celebration of everything the ladies have done over the last 75 years, and not by ourselves. We couldn't do it alone. It's with everybody else's support and help. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, that's awesome, Teresa. And congratulations to everyone. Great organization. Since you're not looking to get the word out, I won't put it in the minutes, but those that need to know, this is a good reminder. And very good. Anything else as far as upcoming local events? And if you guys think of anything, you can just drop it in the chat. Those of you that are here
Hey,
at the live meeting.
uh,
Yes.
um, Freddie Gibbs is doing a winter flying up in Flagstaff at Wiseman Aviation. December
Wonderful. Is there a
29th.
spans for that?
There will be a spans for it, yeah.
But not yet?
I don't know. I don't have access to FAAsafety.gov right now.
Okay, no worries. If someone, maybe Brent, if you have time to maybe do a quick search for that, be in Flagstaff and drop it in the chat, that would be awesome. We'll get that in the minutes. Again, if you guys think of other things, go ahead and just drop them in the chat there. What do we got here? ASAG. Thank you, Lee. I'll go ahead and add that. That is the monthly ASAG meeting, November 20th. See if I can just do that right here. I'll come back and format that more later, but that'll be a link for you guys. Okay. I'm going to keep going here. Exciting news. We do have a new overlay file. So if anyone's not familiar, just starting on our AFTW homepage, you can go to practice areas. You can just click there, or you can come down and click on EFB overlays, goes to the same place. And then here's where you can access the direct link or a Google Drive if for some reason the direct link's not working. Either one of those will get you this KML file. The exact link that is shareable is here in the minutes. And when you click on that from a device that I will go ahead and actually pull up mine right now, if it'll let me. I'm going to share my iPad. And it's thinking. There it comes. All right, so once you load the overlay in ForeFlight, and while this is loading up, I'll tell you, we've had trouble the last several months with Google, not Google, Garmin Pilot. It's been making doing overlays on Garmin Pilot has been making the app crash. So some of you may have seen, I posted in our Facebook group, I'm looking for someone who has Garmin Pilot to test this newest KML files. Anyone on the local call happen to use Garmin Pilot? If there is, please speak up. So this latest version, once you have it loaded, you'll see AFTW. Oh, now I'm going to make a liar out of myself, because actually now what I'm going to do is a live demonstration of how to get it in here. I forgot which iPad I put it on. All right, so I ended up not sharing my other work iPad that I had in the hotel when I did this the other day. So if you go to the website from your iPad, and this is in the video that is on that same page. So when you go to the EFB overlays, the practice areas page, there's a short video, and near the end of that video, I think, it gives instructions on what I'm doing right now. You guys are seeing my iPad, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. So from this page, now that I'm on my iPad, I click on direct link, and it says save down at the bottom. I click on that, and I'm just going to tell it save to my files. And then it changes to open in. You see that at the bottom. So when I do open in, now I can go over to more and then ForeFlight, and it's going to pop this up. You got to tap. It's not real obvious. There's no circle. There's no OK. You actually have to tap where it says custom content. And then we're going to put it into custom map layers. Tap on that. It says import successful. So here's the file you're looking for is November 2024. That's the latest one. And then you click OK, go to your layers, and now you can see I've got March and I've got November. So to get rid of March, I'm going to go to More on ForeFlight and then go to Custom Content there on the right and then Custom Map Layers. I know I'm going fast, but again, this is all in the video. And now I want to delete the top one. I'm just going to swipe left. And you can see that opens up the delete. And there you go. That's how you get rid of an old one. So now if I go back to my map, go to my layers, now I can see that the only option is November 2024. Not a lot of significant changes. Thank you, Stacy, for keeping this updated. One thing, I think we actually did it live on the last meeting. It just took us a while to get it posted on the website. But the name of Woolsey Peak, where's that at? It's over here somewhere. It was misspelled for the longest time. We had the Wolves E was actually Wolves Lee. We had Ley, when right next to it, right there on the chart, you can see that it's SEY. So now we have a whole generation of students and flight instructors calling it Wolseley Peak when it's really Woolsey Peak. Woolsey Peak. Anyway, it's been corrected now. We apologize for the misspelling. While we're talking about pronunciation, I'll go ahead and mention I always hear people calling it Tonopah Private. Welcome to Arizona. It's Tonopah, just so everyone knows. If you are part of an organization, United, that is calling it Tonopah, please know that it is Tonopah, is the way our Native American friends would like you to pronounce that. All right. I think that does it. Any questions on the overlay while I got the iPad up? And you guys remember we changed it a while ago that it's just one overlay for northern Arizona there, for southern Arizona, the Tucson area. It's all just one file. And as you zoom in, it makes it easier to use. A
Hey,
couple people
Jim,
complained about that, but we decided it's easier than keeping multiple files updated. Yes, go ahead.
who takes care of updating that?
Stacy's been the man that's
I
doing
do.
the actual programming.
Okay, and I'd be interested to have a short conversation with you about that at some point,
Sure.
maybe tomorrow or something. Can you send me an email or a call or something? You want my number?
Is this
No,
Brent?
no, I'll email you.
Mike,
Just
Mike
so
Jesh.
yeah, so it's not recorded forever on your on your Zoom recording.
Sounds good. All right, I'll go back to share.
Jim knows how to get a hold of me if nothing else. So thank you.
Yeah, if you're wondering about like technical how-to kind of stuff, you can open that same file in a notepad type text editor, and you can see the code, and you can see some pseudocode in there where Stacy actually has update information. I've got very limited personal experience, but the little bit I've played around with KML files, once you figure out the structure, it's pretty simple to edit and add your own points. And it gets a little more complicated when you want to start drawing borders and putting labels on things. But I've seen some pretty neat stuff done with it.
Yeah, I just use Google Earth. So it's a Google Earth file.
So do you do all the actual editing in Google Earth and just export
Yeah.
it? Is
Yeah.
that easy? Oh, there you go.
It's that easy.
All right. I was thinking that you were doing it in the actual code.
Oh, yeah. I was coding it all. Mountain Dew and Cheetos.
He may be a nerd, but he's not that much of a nerd.
Awesome. All right, let's.
Hey, just so you know, Jim,
yep.
The FAA page is not loading. It looks like the server is not responding.
Thank you for trying.
Yep.
Our tax dollars at work. Gotta love it. All right, let's keep going here. Airports. Any significant training updates? Actually, our friends over at Falcon, I think, I don't know if this is your first time at the AFTW meeting, but if you don't mind introducing yourselves, SWAZ, do you call it SWAZ? If you don't mind unmuting and just tell us a little about your operation.
Yeah, so it's SWAZ Aviation.
SWAZ.
So we started mostly as like maintenance, and then over the past year we've grown into like a flight school. I started as the only instructor. I think we have 8 or 9 instructors now. And then we do a lot of rentals as well. So there's a lot of people from all schools all over the valley that we do check out flights and rentals too.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being here. The document I just pulled up is our Arizona Flight Training Work Group points of contact, and that is linked down here near the bottom of our minutes. We'll be getting to that again. But I just made a line for you. If when you get a chance, if you don't mind going and adding your information there, or whoever's information would be a good point of contact for your school.
Great.
We
Yes,
appreciate that.
do that.
Wonderful. So that's a Falcon new flight school there because there weren't enough already, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be some kind of record. How many of you guys got out there?
A lot.
I think it's up to like 9 now or something like that.
It's all good. It's all good. It's like the 80s all over again. All right. Let's see here. Any other airports? Any updates? Construction? Anything?
Just a quick word if you weren't paying attention to the news recently, and Falcon did have an accident with a Honda jet that crashed off the departure end of, I think it was 22 left into the Orange Groves. I know there was some fatalities. I don't know the details of it, but just if you aren't aware, there was a fatal accident at Falcon just recently.
Blancalirio covered it. There's not a lot of information, more questions than answers, but very sad, especially for that innocent driver on the road.
Yeah.
Very sad. Oh. I mean, not that the passengers are any less or more innocent, but it's always a tragic sad.
I think that one incident eclipsed all of our GA fatalities last year.
Unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll be talking about it in detail at the ASAG meetings as more information comes to light. So, all right. Anything else on airports?
Gateway continue with reconstruction of 1-2, the last half of 1-2 right, all of 3-0 left. We're down to operating on a 3,200 on 1-2 right, and no takeoffs. And that's for the foreseeable future. I think it goes through the summer, I want to say. So if you can keep training from IWA as much as possible, we'd appreciate it. We've alleviated training, so no multiple stop and goes unless it's required. You do all your training out somewhere else and come back and do full stop landings, except for the, like our initial solos.
All right. Do you think that's enough detail for the minutes? Because I mean, things are changing with what runway, what day. I mean, it's just keep up on it, right? Be aware.
I would say instead of avoid it, I would just say, reduce operations in effect or something like that. Just, something like that. I don't want to be directive.
Okay.
I'll choose somewhere else if you can.
All right. Let's see. Please.
Because it's making downwinds like 4 miles long.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people.
Understand. All right. Very good. Any other airports?
Hey, Jim, Kerry here.
Hey, Kerry. Glad you made it. Good to see you.
Yep. This kind of runs between airports and airspace.
Okay.
There is a company out there called Vector that's using ADS-B data to assess landing fees and approach fees as well. If you're in their airspace, they've started it at Bullhead. They were trying to use it at Cottonwood, and the city council put it on hold up there. I think they're using it at Safford, and I just saw a picture this week that it's in place at Glendale. Now, the story I got at Glendale is it's only going to be for 135 operators, but I don't know how they can determine you're a 135 operator from your ADS-B data. So Chris Nugent from the Arizona Pilots Association and, of course, the Arizona Aviation Safety Advisory Group think this is a very, very bad idea, particularly when it comes to training and trying to facilitate training, because we're trying to encourage pattern work, not discourage pattern work.
Right. Give me that list of airports again so far.
Bullhead.
Do you know the identifier for Bullhead? IFP?
IFP, I believe it is. GEU is Glendale. Safford, I believe, is SAD, Sierra Alpha
right.
Delta. And those are the three.
Wasn't it at Cottonwood also?
Well, Cottonwood was talking about it, and the city
Okay.
council put it on hold.
Okay.
So
So far.
So how do they collect these fees from you?
they send you a bill in the mail to the address that your aircraft is
So it's like
registered
getting
to.
a photo speeding ticket, right?
Yes.
But with less teeth.
So Jim Anderson has been the recipient of several of these for landing out in California at Torrance, and so far he's ignored them. So I don't know under what authority they'll have to collect these fees, but this is something that we are working. We think this needs to be a legislative solution. AOPA is also very involved with this. They were on our meeting, ASAG meeting, the time before last, and they're not happy about these fees either. So just be aware they're out there. And I see Mike has his hand up. Maybe he has something to add on it out there in Southern California.
Yeah, we had Jim McClay from AOPA was on the SCOG meeting this morning, and he mentioned that some people who have approached AOPA after getting a landing fee bill, when they get AOPA legal services plan engaged in it, that bill goes away. But those other people who don't do that are just, a lot of them, probably at least half of them, are rolling over and paying it. So, little lesson for you right there. It pays to stick together on this kind of thing, come up with a plan, and attack it every time it comes up. You can't let this stuff go.
Well said.
Yeah, we think it's a total misappropriation of what ADSB was supposed to be used for, and it's not it's not traffic safety is being used. And the real problem with this goes back here to our airports in Arizona, is that a lot of these airports and the airport manager at Falcon has said, well, we see this as a possible way of supplementing the funds that the Arizona Department of Transportation sweeps every year from the airport improvement trust funds. And so it's a misappropriation of funds, and it's managers are doing what they can to try and find alternate sources of revenue at our expense. We're not for it.
Well, it's good AOPA's on it.
Yeah, and it was Jim that was on our meeting the time before as well. So.
All right. Thank you. John, you got something too?
Yeah, just to add on to what Mike was saying. Yeah, there's flight schools that are getting bills from Camarillo and Torrance Airport. And the one person that I do know is ignoring the bills completely, because really there is no way of even identifying who the pilot is, who's flying the airplane. They can only identify the airplane itself. So they try to bill the flight school, where the flight school says, well, it wasn't us that flew it. We just happened to own the airplane. It's the pilot that's responsible, and we're not turning their name over to you. So go to hell, type of thing. But yeah,
it feels like a phishing scam, and they're just trying to get the people that'll pay.
Well, and they're digging for ways of coming up with more revenue, but there's also been some faults in the system, in that one flight school fought one of them because it said that it would be, or the flight actually happened in the PM and the flight was actually in the AM. So, there's still faults in the system. So, it's strictly up to you whether or not you want to pay for this stuff. I haven't tested the system yet. Not that I'm all that concerned about it. But I mean, it's just another attack on general aviation.
I didn't want to go out on a limb at first, but the more I think about it, I'm going to go ahead and put that in the minutes. The AFTW is not aware of any legal requirement to pay these fees, and we recommend they not be paid. I wouldn't
go that far.
I think that's too far.
The last part. I would just say you have no legal requirement to pay these fees.
Not our place to recommend whether people do it or not.
Yeah, because now you're giving free legal advice.
Right. Okay, fair enough. All right. And the AFTW is whoever comes to the live meeting. So if anyone disagrees with that, speak up.
Since I was talking about Glendale, Glendale is no longer the Glendale Municipal Airport. They've changed their name to the Glendale Regional Airport.
Ooh. So I mean, I get to fly my CRJ there? Be a long flight from Sky Harbor.
So I was talking to Matthew Smith, the airport manager, about the name change, and it's a little bit of marketing to try and get identified with a bigger area than just the city of Glendale. So, and I think what they're
Oh, they should have taken a page from Midland, Texas. You know what they call their airport?
Mid-America or what?
No, it's the air and spaceport in Midland, Texas. They shot for the stars. So, apparently got something going on with Elon. All right, I'm just looking up Glendale here. This is big news for those of us that have been around for a few decades. Yeah, new airport. I had my first 10 hours in Glendale back in the early 90s. So that's pretty cool. There it is, Glendale Regional Airport. There's just Glendale Regional on
And you make me feel
Warflight.
so old when you say that. Stop
Way
it.
back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop
it. When you were getting ready to retire. No, just kidding.
You were doing all
Oh,
for
it's
30.
all relative. It's all relative. I'm in my 50th year. I just turned 49 yesterday, so my last year in my 40s. So, yeah. Downhill from here, as they say.
And if you want an airport with a better name than that, look up 48 uniform.
Oh, now you just got to tell us. You gonna make me do it? Eight. Was that an alpha or the number 8?
48. The digits 48.
48.
Uniform.
All right. This better not be profane. Greater Green River Intergalactic Spaceport. Oh, wow. Okay. You win.
I went there about 6 months ago. There is nothing there.
Nice.
It's
All right,
hilarious.
guys. Let's keep going. Anything else on airports or airspace?
Did we talk about the radio frequency project with airspace?
No. Do we have some news? I think Lee's on as well.
I've got one on airspace.
Let's see. Lee, did you have an update? Any news on the frequency project?
We hope to send in our request for waiver within 10 days, and we thank Stacy Elliott for making amazing heat maps, putting together graphics for the data that Tyler Howard and Luke Air Force Base provided. Thanks, Stacy.
My pleasure. Thank you for the thank you.
You're welcome. That's it.
Thank you. I'll just say that it's still in progress. And Brian, you said you had something?
Yeah, we had a complaint come across the Facebook page yesterday or the day before about overflights of Maricopa, and a resident wrote a letter in and to the FAA and was complaining about the training overflights. I don't have any detailed information whether they were low, high. The letter claimed that they were, power on, power off, things like that you do in normal training exercises. So I just kind of wanted to remind everybody to be courteous of our neighborhood communities, whether it's Maricopa or Rio Rancho or Rio Verde or whatever those, the communities are. I know that we get, the CFI revolving door. Sometimes the message doesn't get passed down to subsequent generations of CFIs to avoid some of these populated areas. And I know that the sky gets pretty crowded and they're looking for an open patch of sky where they don't have to be rubbernecking it every 5 seconds. But I just wanted to bring that to the attention since it came across the Facebook page the other day.
Thank you. I don't think pilots realize, even in a 160 horse airplane, how much that noise of going from idle to full to idle to installs. I don't think they realize how noticeable that is several thousand feet below.
Yeah. And, Also, I mean, the change in pitch, it'll cause people to look up and like wonder if something's wrong, if the plane's having some mechanical issue or something
Yeah,
like that. I'm sure
exactly.
it causes some people some anxiety.
All right, very good. Good reminders. Anything else for airspace or airports?
We got something in the comments about the MOA. If you want to submit a comment to the potential revision to the MOAs, that's been extended to today, so you got to get it done tonight. November 12th is the last day for submissions if you want to put a comment in on that proposal. So do check that out. It's in the chat, which we can copy over into the
Yeah,
minutes.
I'm grabbing it right now. So is that the EIS thing?
Yeah.
All right.
And
And then
Carrie's comments for ASAG are linked in this chat also, and they're very good graphics, and it will give people ideas for what to write. You can do a quick electronic comment online at that bottom link.
all right, I'll come back and format this as soon as we're done. Thank you for that, Lee. All right. Let's see. Anything else, airspace or airports? I put that on airports.
Airports, we were hoping on a tower for Marana. And unfortunately, the environmental impact study has been extended. Lee, last I heard, it was because of blizzards several miles south of the airport. So Galen doesn't have any update on that, does he?
I haven't heard from him for this meeting, but he has been keeping me posted. And he is planning a safety meeting at Marana with the parachute operators and the person, the point of contact for the tower. So there'll be a spans on that when it's scheduled.
I'm sorry, Carrie, I was busy copying and pasting. Did you say blizzard south of Tucson?
Four-legged blizzards, yes, with a tail.
Oh, lizards with it. Okay,
yes.
Lima. I thought blizzards like snowstorms. So.
That's what I thought you
said. We're going to Dairy Queen.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, click on the links. It's pretty self-explanatory here with the MOAs, and then there's really nothing we can do about the tower thing. They just have to finish that impact study before anything happens, right? So, all right, cool. Good work. Anything else on airspace or airports?
I don't know what this belongs in as far as airspace. It could be in airports too. It's kind of like the bridge between the two, I would say. But I would just advise caution as the nighttime is getting earlier and we're in the winter months. Just be aware of CFIT risks, the controlled flight into terrain. If you've maybe been a pilot in flatland territory and you haven't flown night out here in Arizona, there's these little things called mountains that like to stick up and grab you at night. And I think pilots don't realize that are trained elsewhere and come here that you can't fly around here at night the way you do during the day. So part of the reason I'm highlighting this is I know we've done a kind of a deep dive analysis of our flight data from some night flights, and we've actually found a couple flights where crews came within 110, 150 feet of mountain peaks at night. And we asked the crews, hey, do you remember passing this peak at night? And they're like, what peak? And most of it is caused by crews who are doing, like, if you can see my camera, they're flying crews, and then they reach like a point of descent, and they do this basically shallow descent to arrive at the pattern altitude at their destination airport. And they're doing that at night over potentially mountainous terrain where they're not considerate as to the terrain below them. And they end up coming close to mountain peaks. So make sure that when you're flying at night that you're staying high. I would advise you to go over the top of the airport you want to descend into and then do kind of a spiral orbit into the traffic pattern that direction, unless there's parachute jumping or something going on over that airport. But the other method is, of course, arriving into the airport on an instrument approach plan. If you're trained in instrument procedures, you could fly those in, as those will typically guarantee you obstacle terrain clearance, as long as you're familiar with the NOTAMs. But just be cautious of that. We have seen several close calls just within our flight crews, and we know our flight crews are very familiar with Arizona during the daytime, but they seem to be applying some of the flight techniques they use during the day to arrive at airports at night, and it's not prudent. So I raise that caution to the rest of the schools and folks just to be on the lookout and watch for that as a hazard.
Absolutely.
Brent, let me tag on to that because you guys go down there quite a bit, and a lot of other flight schools do too. Is Alpha 39 Akchin?
Oh yeah.
We had a fatal there. It's been about 3 years ago now, but it was a gentleman that was on the downwind left base for the whatever the west runway is. I can't remember. Is it 23? But there's a peak out there, and it's not lighted. And this was on my agenda items for quite some time on ASAG, and Ernie was trying to work on it. But the problem is that peak is in another Indian reservation's jurisdiction, and it's not in the jurisdiction of the Akchin airport. And that peak does violate the FAR 77 clear zone. So just be aware that there's a peak out there that's not lighted. And I think try and stay close to the airport, because you do have to be out kind of far and drug in, but to hit it. But it's out there. So
yeah, and I think the pilots also may think that, and I appreciate the video you're pulling up on screen here, Jim. You're probably going to copy this into the minutes, and this is a great case study from the AOPA about a flight that impacted the superstitions to the east of Phoenix back in the day,
and we're coming
which
up
drives
on
home this point. Yeah, but
Thanksgiving.
It is, yeah, Thanksgiving, or what day before, I think it was, or day after. But,
killed his kids. Totally unnecessary.
Yeah. But I think some people may think, oh, I don't have to plan for terrain on cross-country flights. And if I'm just doing a valley rally going from Gateway to Chandler to Scottsdale to Goodyear, there's still peaks in the mountain or inside the Phoenix metro area. We actually had a crew that was transitioning north over Sky Harbor. They got a frequency change approved, descent unrestricted, remain outside the class Bravo. And the crew started a descent down to traffic pattern altitude for Deer Valley. And they came about 130 feet from hitting the top of Piestewa Peak and didn't know it was there until they caught a passing shadow off their left side. Wow. Because they were slightly right of the peak. But yeah, very scary. So do be very cautious of your surroundings and what the terrain is below you before you start to descend at night, and do some very thorough pre-flight planning.
Yeah, we had the Transpac CFI that was out doing radial intercepts and ran in the terrain there up in the northeast practice area.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, good reminders. This video is just over 7 minutes long. I encourage everyone to go watch it. If it's been a while, it's worth watching it again. It's here in the minutes. You can click on it. You saw I just searched for AOPA CFIT and it came up as like the third or fourth one there as well. All right, anything else on airspace or airports? Cool. Moving on, current projects we need help with. This is kind of a new category we've added to the minutes. And I still believe in this project about practice instrument approaches in the Phoenix area. It's an oldie, just kind of stagnant because we need more volunteers to help get it done. All the information you need is right there. Please contact me if you'd like to help out. And thank you to everyone who's helped out in the past. It's a pretty big project getting all that information. And frankly, we need to update some of the stuff that is there just because of the new instrument ACS and the change in what counts as precision versus non-precision will change a lot of our recommendations on some of the sequence of practice approaches there when it comes to IPCs and check rides. Let's see. This is an initiative. We called it our 2024 initiative, and here we are in the last meeting. We have made progress. This is the points of contact that I mentioned earlier. You can see it's maybe half filled out for the schools that we know about and other aviation organizations. Please check and make sure your organization is properly documented here as far as a point of contact. Don't worry, we're not looking to sell this. We just want to know who to go to when we have questions or concerns and make sure we can get things resolved quickly. Plus, it can be used for networking and helping each other out. I was noticing on the AFTW website, even though we don't really have a lot of links on these menus, up here on the blue bar, we still have this old about link that is more than 20 years old. I made this page in 2002 when we first set up the website. And a lot of these links are broken, and I need to go fix that and just make them so they're not hyperlinks. But these, yeah, I mean, I didn't take these pictures, but that's the quality of pictures from Google 20 years ago. Anyway, but the mission statement is still here as well. And again, an oldie but a goodie. And number two, share training tools, concepts, and ideas. So that usually happens here at these meetings, but it can also happen offline. And that's why we want everyone to have good contact information. So, especially schools that you're physically close to and want to have good working relationships with. So, please encourage anyone that you don't see on the list there, the point of contact list. Please encourage them to add their information or get their permission to do it for them. And be careful, because that document, anyone who goes to this link, and this is going to be recorded on YouTube and public for people that want to look for it, or at least through our AFTW website. Be careful, because anyone can delete anything on that page. I should probably make a backup every now and then. So just be careful, and then watch the yellow highlighted note that I put in there. All right, questions, comments, any of that?
Oh, Jim,
Please.
will you please add projects we need help with in the Tucson area?
Sure.
As long as we don't have a tower yet, these approaches are still very important to get all the help we can get.
So to do what? I'm sorry, I didn't follow that.
Your recommended procedures for practice instrument approaches.
So you're saying to have a document just for the Tucson area?
Or to have these links. So if anybody wants to edit or improve what we have, we'd appreciate it.
Okay. Is there anything existing already for Tucson? Because I haven't done anything for Tucson.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's in the links in the chat.
Oh, well, thank you. I see what you're saying. So you want me to take that? I just noticed my numbering's all messed up. I'll come back and fix it and put it here. So projects we need help with. So this would be Tucson area practice instrument approaches.
Mm-hmm. And you do have these documents on the Marana page.
I do remember seeing these. I'm so sorry. Yes, you guys had me post these a while ago.
And
thank you.
Come to a consensus. So anyone who could develop a consensus, or we have best practices.
Sure.
Is all we can do at a non-towered airport, really.
Well, and I mean, that's all we do at the AFTW. Nothing here is legally binding, right? We're all just sharing ideas and suggestions, and it's all information. It's voluntary whether people use it or not. So, all right. So is that good how I did it? Tucson area practice instrument approaches.
I'm sure. Thank you.
And then and that's the page we did on the website, and there you go. Okay, wonderful. Yes, thank you for the reminder. All right.
Jim, it's Tom Cowan. I should have mentioned
Tom, how you
this
doing?
to you. Good, buddy. How you doing?
Good.
So we had a parachute ops. We had the military parachute stuff. We had our British allies were in, and the folks at Sierra Charlie Aviation were very kind and hosted Carrie and me and Lee and the folks from CPS, Hugh, and so forth for a seminar over there. And we covered the basics, and we're finding that the word is really out. And I can't thank you enough for everybody that's part of this and of the ASAG for making sure this information about it's an unpowered wing. They operate between 12 and a half and the ground generally. And they fly just like an airplane and do a downwind, a base, and a final. And if you want to stay away, just watch the winds and stay well downwind of the drop zone when the NOTAM is active. And if you need help and you can't catch it on CTAF or in some cases AWAS, the flight following folks are really kind about propagating who is in the air doing the parachute ops. And the reason why we can't really be terribly public about the exact time and place has more to do with operational security than it does anything else. So we know it's annoying. It can be annoying for everybody that's on this group, but we can't thank you all enough for keeping all of our operators safe and all of our allies operators safe. So just keeping making progress, Jim, on getting the information out.
Wonderful. Thank you for the update and reminder. So from the AFTW website, I went to practice areas page, scrolled down to Arizona skydiving operations, and this first Google link goes to a doc. Is CPS and Skydive Marana? There's got to be more operators. I mean, are there others
Yeah.
we need to get on here?
So that's military operations. That's probably it. I'll check with Hugh.
Okay.
That's Jim. We'll probably limit it to that.
Okay.
It's probably best if we don't put any of the folks that are doing any of the operating. But between Pat at Skydive and ourselves, myself, and then the folks at CPS, Hugh and Justin, who used to be there, we pretty much, and I, as you know, I'm still connected with all that crowd, so we're pretty well wired in now.
Okay.
With all of us. But again, we appreciate all the time you all have spent on this.
You're welcome. And just quick, since I got you, Tom, so that gentleman that you introduced me to via email, he's actually a client or a customer.
He is a client.
He's not an operator.
He's not an operator.
Okay.
He
I
should
misunderstood.
know. Yes, no worries, no worries. He heads up all of the safety for all of the British Special Forces
Gotcha.
trainees that come over here. And so they're very concerned that, because as I've said before, each one of these operators cost at least $1 million by the time they get here. So it's not just the human life that's critical, it's they're very, very valuable assets. So they're very concerned. Just want to make sure that we're all, everybody knows what's going on, because many of them are pilots also, like a lot of us. So they were very happy, by the way, in the progress. They were here this time last year. They weren't so happy. Now they're way more happy, Jim. So
very good.
This
Glad
is
to hear
more
the word's
about,
getting out.
Yeah, it is. It's really getting out, and it was clear from the kinds of questions we're getting now. So
wonderful. Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much for all your work on that. I know it's been a lot of meetings. Lee, you got something?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. You do a great job, you and Carrie and Hugh. For best practices, we know that parachute operators have to report to TRACON or center within moments of their release of parachutists. So they are really our best source for up-to-date information. So in spite of our practice area frequencies now, or hopefully more in the future, TRACON and center are our best, will have the best information.
And what also came out at our Friday meeting is for the Rainbow Valley area folks, they are going to be increasing their operation tempo out at Bishop. So you can expect to see a lot of the Sherpas out in the Bishop area.
And flight following between Tucson and Phoenix, maybe you all do that anyway, but they are a great resource for parachute operations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Even if you don't have flight following, it's great just to listen to center. Between Phoenix and Tucson. I mean, we get flight following every time, but we're doing that flight a couple of times a week at least. And we get following, but even if you don't, just listen to center, because then you'll hear the announcements for when they got drops.
Yep. All the skydive drop planes I've ever heard, they're all good at doing that. So, all right, very good. That was under airspace. Cool. I'll come back and proofread all this later. All right. Anything else for projects we need help with? Airspace or airports? Anything I missed so far? I think we're in the home stretch. So other comments, questions, and I'll open it up here at the end. So I wasn't at the meeting when we introduced this. Want to make sure we get the word out. This is the idea we were talking a few meetings ago about having some kind of a pass along flyer. Decided to call it a brief and made this special little shortcut. Um, Actually, I think it's even shorter than that. Yeah, if you just do aftw.org/brief, it'll redirect to this PDF and you can copy and paste that link too. Um, we can certainly update this if anyone has any suggestions, but the idea was just a link that could be texted, could be emailed, it could be printed and put on a bulletin board in a flight school or FBO, and really just to get the word out. A new DP is going to start doing check rides. This is one of the first things the flight school should send them, just to make them aware. And then down there at the bottom, where did I say it? Something about getting briefed. Yeah, number 6. It is highly recommended that you get briefed by a local flight instructor who is familiar with the area. I mean, there's just too much to put in one piece of paper, right? But this is really just to make people aware of how serious it is. I mean, I had a DP who's been doing apparently private and commercial check rides here for a while. He's from out of town and we met and he had my number. So he texted me. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to do my first instrument check ride. Any suggestions?" And my mind almost blew up. Like, how do I text this back? I'm like, let's set up a time to talk. It's a lot. Any quick suggestions? Anything you guys think should be changed or added or deleted?
I just think people are going to be excited about it. I mentioned it to somebody who is an out-of-state DPE. I met him in passing, and he said, "Let me know when it's out."
Cool.
So
Please share the link.
Jim, I know for future you might not want to do this, but rather than just have them go to aftw.org as a general, how about a link directly to like the stack link when
Here in the brief?
5. Yeah, in the brief.
So would we want it? I'm fine with that. So for the Stanfield stack, we actually start at this page, which I know is a lot of text and people don't read when they're on the internet. And then there's this tiny little link at the bottom that goes to the actual PDF. Are you suggesting to go right to this?
Maybe include it right after that AFTW org so they can go directly to it.
Okay. That would probably be the best way to do it because I worry that too many people that come this far don't make it all the way to this tiny little link at the bottom.
Yeah, and I'm afraid if they just go to aftw.org, they're not going to find the really important information.
Is there an argument for making them poke around so they see other stuff? I don't know. Probably not. I'm fine with that. I can add that in here. Let's see, Cascade Coolidge.
Particularly, like you just said, an instrument check, they've got to know those stack procedures.
Yeah, think about how I'll do that because I'm talking about Casagrande and Coolidge at the same time, but I'll figure it out. Any other suggestions?
Maybe put at the bottom a QR code so people who don't want to type address in there, they just scan it.
Yeah, so for anyone who wants to hang it on the wall, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Jim, this is Tom Cowan. This is going to sound very nerdy, and you guys are probably going to want to shoot
nerdier than a QR code. Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, it's going to be worse. Yeah, you probably know my expertise is in AI and quantum computing. There are some models that you and I might be able to run queries that might be able to give you some ways to navigate people from really a complex information back. So we should talk a little bit about this because a few prompts into a couple of these AI models, I'm not talking Chat GPT, but more sophisticated, might be able to help make your life easier because you take all the complex detail, feed it in, and then let it tell you how to create kind of a leading thing that gets you down to that level that might, because I understand the problem with you fire hose somebody and they can't manage, right? But the question is, how do you lead them down that path? We might be able to do something. So let's kind of, yeah, if you're, it's, by the way, it's magical once you understand it. So but I'll be happy to help, you or anybody else. I mean, feel free, guys. I'm still on leave from Columbia until they straighten it out. So,
Well,
which
I go on 2 hour call out at 4 a.m. tomorrow, and they haven't given me anything yet, or at least before this meeting. So if I'm still sitting around tomorrow, I might reach out to you.
absolutely, please do. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been wanting to get more up to speed on what's going on with AI. It's I I feel like it's like the internet slash website in the early days where a lot of people are like, that's not that important. And then here we are. So um, I'm not saying I want to be on the tip of the spear, but I want to at least know what the spear looks like. So
Let's talk about that, because I could easily
Mhm.
do a 15-minute video for everybody that gives you just
Okay.
how are people using it effectively today. I'm not talking about the what I'm talking about a productive use of it that you could just in 2 minutes you could give it a shot. So
Let me I'll share real quick my concern with AI in general is that it is a tool that will be abused, especially in academia, people having it write papers for them and places where we as humans need to learn and grow by doing work. And if we outsource too many things to AI, we don't have the growth that comes from doing the work. So that's my
you know
overall concern about
I
AI as a tool.
fully understand. I
Um,
think when you understand that it's no different than moving from doing mathematics with your hands into using a calculator,
sure.
it just lets you move to the next level, and you
Yeah,
treat it as a partner and getting you to solve things you couldn't solve before. So I think, but there's a different philosophy in how you use it. And it in itself shouldn't be a problem. It's more how it's used. But
totally
and
agree.
there's a whole guys, I have a whole part of what I do that deals with all this kind of stuff. And anybody that's interested just has to get in touch with me. But Jim, I'll just to give everybody a sense of what this is like, if you and I want to take a little project and we can show somebody how this might work and help, I'll be glad to.
Sounds good. Yeah, I like it. I like anything, the internet in general, calculators, for flight, GPS. There's often a fine line between it being a tool and a crutch. And
Absolutely.
that's just where I'm currently at with it. But I have not actually ever used any kind of AI myself, and I'm excited to learn. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's go. Any other comments specifically on this before I close it? Actually, I'm just going to move it over here. Yeah, go ahead.
Um, you know, AI AI to me is very exciting. My son uses that what is it, chat GTP or whatever it is, and it's interesting what it comes up with. But um, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the movie Wall-E. Okay, you remember all those people that were on that spaceship flying through space, waiting to land it back at Earth? That's eventually what we're all going to look like if we let AI take over our entire life.
Right. There you
So,
go.
not so much the bodily portion, but the brain portion. Eventually, we're gonna stop thinking. So
I,
we still have to think.
I gotta tell
I
you,
was thinking
as
it was going to be
Jim
like the Matrix.
Yeah, as Jim knows, you guys have to worry about this a whole heck of a lot more than I do. I have limited time, guys. So I'm just trying to bridge that gap for you guys because you're gonna have to worry. No, I really do think this is a topic that's gotten blown way out of proportion on the fear of this stuff. And I don't want to hang everybody up here. But this is like a lot of things. It can be incredible, right? It helped Elon Musk land a rocket back on Earth, right? And drive cars. It's just how you use it that matters, right? It's just like a hammer can be helpful and also a weapon. I mean, it's the same stuff. And again, I don't want to hang you guys up, but anybody that's interested or wants more, I'll be glad to give them more and show them how to use it so that in a way that you can understand it, because it shouldn't be something you're worried about. it's a way to digest information that we can't easily do ourselves because it's a lot. And we can use the tool to help digest it for us and help us. But I think if you think about it as a tool that helps instead of a tool that creates, you're probably better.
There you go.
Anyway, I'm going to stop.
I
Jim,
appreciate
I
it. No,
promise.
that's
I
great.
promise.
It's good stuff. And knowledge is power. Being ignorant isn't going to help anybody. So we all need to educate ourselves and make sure we've got good and accurate information. So thank you. All
Okay,
right.
Jim.
Stacy had to take off. Thanks for being here, Stacy. Let's go ahead and finish up here. Thank you again to Goal for leading our meetings in 2024. I was happy to pitch in today, worked out with my schedule, but um, that was really, really good of you to do that. And then Brian Baker has volunteered to take our meetings in 2025. Thank you, Brian. And those of you who've been around for a couple of years will recognize him from last year, the year before this one. And we've decided to stay on the same schedule every other month at 4 p.m. on Tuesdays. So next meeting will be January 14th. I do have the register at here, but it hasn't been updated. ASAG, thank you, has agreed to pay for an actual Zoom account. This is a good idea, and we probably should have done it a while ago instead of using my personal Zoom account and having me tied to everything. So once we get that set up, we'll have the registration link for 2025. And hopefully by the time anyone's watching this recording or soon after, if it's not here when you want it, please check back within a week or so. And hopefully we'll have that up there. So you guys can get registered for the January meeting. And we're going to do it the same way, so you can actually register for all 6 meetings at the same time. That way Zoom will send you email reminders. Encourage you to do that and encourage your people to do that. We'd like to have someone from every flight school at every live meeting. I know that's shooting for the moon, but it's feasible. We know we can do it. We just need one representative that can show up and be at those 6 meetings from every flight school. That's the goal. All right, we're at the end of the agenda. Any miscellaneous questions, comments, concerns? Anything you want me to go back and change? Now's the time to speak up.
Hey, Jim,
Please.
Terry here. See this trophy behind me?
Yes, is that the flight instructor of the year? No, that you'd be
the
safety counselor, or what do they call it now?
well, that was the Arizona Fast Team Rep of the Year.
Fast Team Rep of the Year.
But we are coming up on the deadline, 30 November for CFI of the Year, Fast Team Rep of the Year, and Mechanic of the Year. And we've got lots of CFIs on this Zoom call. And all these flight schools, you ought to be getting your nomination packages in. It's to generalaviationawards.com. We do have a link for it on our website.
I'm on your website, so where is it? This big banner, or
it'll
sure,
be.
I'll eat your cookies.
Yeah, it'll be down in there, but
all right.
And I somebody's typing it in there. Lee is usually pretty good about that. We also give out the Airport of the Year and the CFI, or the ATC Communicator of the Year, and the Ruth Reinhold Award, which you see there, is given out by the Arizona Pilots Association. And there's the links down there. And the banquet is going to be the 2nd of February at the Hilton, Phoenix Airport Hilton. And the proceeds from the banquet are what's going to pay for this Zoom link. It pays for your website for AFTW and the ASAG website as well. So, and the only proceeds we get are what comes through the banquet. So we have to pay for the trophies, the plaques, the dinner, and anything else that comes along. So it's a good cause. It's furthering safety throughout the state. So
spell. What was the date on that again?
2nd of February.
All right, I'll come back and update all this, get it all in there. All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Anything else?
I have February 1st written down. I just put something in the chat.
Oh, let me look at the calendar.
February 1st is a Saturday.
No, then it's the 1st. It's the Saturday.
Okay. Thank you, Lee.
Welcome.
As the Airline Pilot Guy podcast says, we shoot for at least 50% accuracy. All right. Any other miscellaneous items? All right, then. Thank you, everyone who's here at the live meeting. And again, those of you who watch the recording, if you have not yet, or if you're watching the recording on YouTube, again, look in the description and you can see the link to this document. So any of these hyperlinks we're putting in, you can just come click on them from the Google Doc. And we hope to see everyone or someone from your organization at the live meeting on January 14th, where Brian will be conducting. And with that, everyone have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Holiday season, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And stay safe.
Bye-bye.
You guys.